What's up, guys? I'm Mike, and welcome to my rigging station. Hey, look, let's talk about something relatively small, but really significant: swivels, okay? This is something that's rarely, brought into the spotlight because it's like, I don't know, not really glamorous, I guess, but nothing could be further from the truth, because your basic everyday crane swivel is, perhaps the most popular piece of terminal tackle in existence. Every fishery, from inshore, shallow, backcountry, flats, all the way through, chasing giant bluefin tunas or looking for the biggest marlin or swordfish in the ocean, all require the use of swivels. I mean, that's the bottom line. Why do we use these? And in this particular case, this is a brass crane swivel. It is the most popular of all swivels, and for good reason. Some people may call it a barrel swivel because, of course, it looks like there's a couple of rings embedded inside a barrel. I don't care what you call it. It's a brass crane swivel. That's the proper name for that swivel. Now, Highliner, they just introduced a full range of these crane swivels from 30 to 400 pound test. So there's a size for everybody in every application. But more importantly, let's talk about why. Why would you incorporate a crane swivel into your rigging? Well, first and foremost, line twist. Bottom line, line twist, okay? You're fishing with lures, strip baits, plugs. I mean, anything that you throw out there is gonna have a tendency to spin, okay? And if you don't get that spinning under control, it literally destroys your fishing line, which, number one, will limit your casting distance. It's gonna limit the performance of the fishing line. Ultimately, you're gonna have a very frustrating experience. Your line's gonna be twisted and tangled and in a bird's nest on your reel or falling off your spool. You guys know what I'm talking about, man. So that crane swivel right there really, was engineered to take out all of that line twist. So that's really, really important, okay? Really important, and perhaps the most important reason to incorporate a crane swivel. Now, there is another one, which is connecting lines of different diameter, maybe different types of line, braid to mono or mono to fluoro, whatever. There's a lot of different connections, right? There's endless amount of connections on what we're gonna tie and what we're gonna tie it to. So once again, a swivel is a great way to do that. There's certain applications where we don't need it because we want to be as stealthy as possible and we can avoid a crane swivel, okay, if it's not necessary. But in a lot of cases, most of them, you're going to want to have that swivel incorporated somewhere on your line. It's just, at the end of the day, going to give you an all-around better fishing experience. And as I mentioned, for the guys that are not great with knots, or even if you are, that swivel comes into play all of the time to connect lines of different diameters or different materials, or sometimes even the same line. I mean, again, it's endless. What bothers me, though, is sometimes you get this, okay? You get someone who will grab a piece of 30-pound line, 30-pound monofilament. This is the special clear, diamond special clear, okay? And 30-pound here. This is just for demonstration purposes, but there's a point to all of this. And in the middle there is a 200-pound crane swivel that's tied in their rigging, okay? And their rigging looks like this, okay? Very unbalanced, all right? And it makes no sense, and that truly bothers me. And that's one of the things I wanted to share with you, is it's so important that your terminal tackle is, really balanced from line to leader to hook. But, of course, your swivels as well. Don't discount how important it is to balance your swivels. Look, here we have a 100-pound test, and these brass crane swivels, I'm gonna tell you from Highliner, first of all, what really stands out is how small and how strong they are, okay? So, look, here's a 50-pound swivel. I'm just gonna hold up the whole box in front of you because you'd never be able to even see one individually if I held it up from here. I mean, they're really, really micro swivels, but yet they're incredibly strong. That means my entire presentation is lighter, it's stronger, it's stealthier, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna have an overall better fishing experience and I'm gonna be more productive on the water. So I really like that about these. They're really affordable, guys, really affordable. And let me tell you something, a lot of these swivels, these crane swivels, I don't want to say they're disposable, but they tend to be. You know, rigs get destroyed throughout a trip, thrown away. You know, we're constantly tying new rigs. So we go through a lot of swivels, a lot of these crane swivels. So the affordability factor is also really, really important. I've got a full range, I've got affordable crane swivels, but more importantly, they're doing what I need them to do, which is, as I mentioned, avoid line twist, help anglers connect line to line, but it's just so important that everything is done in balance. If I'm fishing 30-pound monofilament, okay, on my running line, and I'm going to a 40 or 50-pound diamond presentation, Gen 2 fluorocarbon leader, you know what, I can get away with a 50, I'd probably get away with a 30-pound, but I could certainly get away with a 50-pound crane swivel. That's what I'm gonna use. It's gonna be nice and small. It's gonna be streamlined. Everything's gonna be balanced. It's still gonna provide the protection from that line twist that I need, okay? And it is a fraction of the size of the previous 200-pound, you know? So again, all about balance. Now, on the flip side, if you're fishing with heavier line, and look, I mean, again, I'm going to tie another piece to this. Hang on, I'll tie another piece to this other end. Sorry about all the phone traffic. People calling me about swivel questions. How do you like that? And let's get to this side. Like I said, I just can't stress enough how important it is that the entire setup be balanced. It's a fundamental across every fishery. And it's really nice when a company introduces a line of products, but with the full range, okay? Because there's a lot of scenarios where, yeah, hey, you know what, 30 and 50 are pretty close, but there's times I want that 30, and there's times I just don't need the strength of a 50-pound swivel, and there are other times that I do. But look how beautiful that is right there. How balanced, right? It's barely, noticeable. So incredibly stealthy, right? And incredibly strong. Great, but I can spin both lines in opposite directions and not create any spin, or any twist in my monofilament there. So absolutely vital. Look, crane swivels come in a lot of different, we'll call it materials. There's also stainless steel, ball bearing, barrel swivels. There's all sorts of stuff, and we're gonna talk about them all moving forward, but the staple of it all, the foundation of all rigging, is the brass crane swivel. And honestly, no one is doing it better than Highliner. With that full range, sold at your local retail location, or right in the description, you can go right on their newly designed website. Okay, you can buy these in 5-packs, 10-packs, or a bulk 100-pack, right across the full range, okay? These are really gonna help you get connected and stay connected, and that's what's important. It's gear that we can count on.